going to begin with this. You'll be very interested in this as a new mom. The U.S. is one of the world's only developed countries that does not guarantee paid family leave. Think about that for just a second. Nearly 1 in 4 mothers in this country returns to work within 2 weeks of giving birth. President Biden's paid leave proposal in the American Families Plan would provide 12 weeks of paid leave to workers caring for new children or a sick family member. Tech entrepreneur Alexis Ohanian is a longtime advocate for paid family leave. Ohanian is founder of the investment fund 776. He's a co-founder of Reddit. And of course, he's a husband of tennis star Serena Williams. And best of all, he's a father of 3-year-old Olympia, one of the cutest little girls in the world. Alexis, hey, it's so good to see you again.
Hey, good to be back.
I know this issue hits very close to home because I remember reading a story that you wrote that when you were born and you're an only child, your dad took off 1 day from work, just one. And when Olympia was born, how much time did you take off from work?
I took my full leave, 12 weeks. And at the time, I wanted to set an example as a leader of my company and a leader in the tech industry. I wanted to role model the kind of behavior I wanted my employees to follow, especially men. I was grateful to have that responsibility or have that opportunity and that responsibility because it was, a very complicated childbirth for my wife.
Yes, we remember reading about that. Yes. But the thing that's interesting, Alexis, you hadn't even thought about this issue until you had your own child.
I know, sad but true. Credit to our VP of People and Culture, Caitlin Holloway. She was the one who had brought the proposal, the plan to the company. And, I was really just checking a box because it seemed like this was something we would just need to have in order to get the best and the brightest to come work for us. But it wasn't until it really deeply and personally affected me that I realized this is something that every American deserves to have. And feel confident to take advantage of. And I'm thrilled to see what President Biden has laid down here.
I agree with you. Luckily, you got to spend so much time with Olympia. What are some of the priceless milestones that you feel like you got to see because you were there?
I mean, just spending the time that I got to spend early on, I had never grown up around babies. So changing diapers, doing all these things were pivotal. And it was important. Serena was coming out of a number of surgeries and those responsibilities just sort of naturally fell on Papa. And just getting that time, even the slightly loopy late nights, trying to sort of calm her back to sleep, were moments that I'm grateful I got to spend because I think they laid a foundation for me to know, look, there's a lot of stuff you just learn on the fly as a parent, and going through that period and having the time to just learn on the go and improvise and actually feel like it's going to work out gave me the confidence to know no matter what, I can be there for her. I can figure it out. We'll get through it. And I'm grateful for it. And every dad deserves it, just like every mom.
Yeah. Alexis says it's Anthony, as much as it's the right thing to do, it sure seems like. You also say it's actually good for the economy. Explain that.
Yes. Well, look, I'm coming at this as a business leader.
Yeah.
I'm saying this is vital because I want my employees to be working when they're at work. I want them to be their whole selves. I want them to be focused. And if you have a newborn, certainly if you have a situation with complications or extra stress, you're not going to be your best self at work. And the idea that this is a country that believes in families as the bedrock, which I believe it does, but also as a country where 1 in 4 American women is back to work 10 days after giving birth, I can't reconcile those things. And I want to know it's possible for everyone because I know it's better for the health outcomes of the mother, of the children, and that means cost reduction, that means cost savings, that means more prosperity for all of us. And I think it's actually on the horizon now. And as an employer, I'm excited because I want this to be something that's not just a privilege for the few to be able to take, but something for every American.
Yeah, I agree with you. You sent a very powerful message last year when you resigned from your board of directors and you said you want to give your seat to a person of color. What role did fatherhood play in that decision at the time? Because at the time, people thought, whoa, you could have just added another seat to your board. You could have done that.
Well, it was thinking about a future conversation I'd have with Olympia and knowing that she's going to grow up with a very different situation than I did. And as a father of a daughter, especially a Black daughter, I wanted to make sure I'd have really good answers for her about decisions I made in my career and my work. And one of the things I realized even in that act of resignation was it was a forcing function to bring change, not just to be replaced by a Black director, but also to finally ban, a number of hate communities on the platform. And so that was, it was motivating for me because so much of what I've tried to do, especially in the last year since, is set an example and do the kind of work that I hope when, she's a snarky teenager, she can look back on and say, all right, what? My father used the platform he had. He used the privilege he had to make things better for me and a lot of people like me.
Yeah.
You have a lot going on. You also have a podcast called Business Dad. Wow.
That's right.
And you're talking to high-profile dads about business and balance, that work life. What have you learned from those fathers?
One of my favorite guests was Hassan Minhaj. And one of the things he talked about, his wife called him out specifically for this early on and said, take this time with your daughter. Take this time to be with her because you will never get it back. And that will be something you'll look back on as a regret. And he's also a hardworking, pretty motivated, career-driven, talented young man.
No, Alexis, you've been called up by your wife too, which I also I rather enjoy.
Yeah,
I remember
had to bring that up, Gayle.
Well, I remember Serena said to you, "You work harder than I do," and you said, "Thank you so much." She said, "That is not a compliment," and I just thought that's such a good way to put it because she works very hard. She goes, "That's not a compliment, dude, that you work harder than I do." What message was she saying to you?
What she hit on the head was the fact that I had a kind of warped view of the path to excellence and the path to greatness being a direct result of just pure work. And that is obviously core to it. But one thing that I'm still working on is balancing that with time off, with time away, with time to reset and recharge. And something she's really good at is shutting it off and focusing on family time or personal time. And I'm always a smartphone away from dipping back into a term sheet or dipping back into work. And I certainly still get checked from time to time on that one because it's something that I want to be my best. I think we all do. And that was, I think, one of the motivations behind even starting Business Dad. We need more men talking about this stuff.
Exactly.
Because I mean, so many career-driven men who also, as soon as you get them talking about their kids, you realize they care as much about this, they care more about this than their empires.
Alexis Ohanian, we've been debating. How do you say your last name?
All of the above.
Okay.
Ohanian.
Okay.
It's fine. As long as you call me Alexis, we're good.
Okay, Alexis, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.